Hey, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Ignition Zones. We created a space where leaders can come to get ignited. My name is Jessica Myers. I'm your host, and I'll be guiding you through this experience. And today, we're actually going to do it a little different. Sometimes I have guests, sometimes I don't, but I really wanted to do it a little different this time because we're going to be creating a segment called what I like to call the Deal Maker. Honestly, I almost started to do this whole show called the Deal Maker because I really wanted to break down what is a deal? Because a lot of times I'm always like, the deal, the deal, the deal. And people are like, well, what is a deal? I mean, really, if I could just break it down in layman's terms, a deal is ultimately someone who has a problem and someone connects you with the solution. That's it. And there is value exchange. That's the deal. When you go to McDonald's, you're hungry, they have food, you give the money, and then you get your food, and then you get what you need. That's the deal. I have a dream that I want to own all this property. People got property. They don't know why they own it. They don't want to own it anymore. They're in a problem with it and they want to get rid of it. That's where we come in and we can make a deal and we can make a situation and we can make a transition. Now, I think the more key part and the key question you should ask is how do you keep finding opportunities to make a deal? And I feel like that's what really makes me the vision architect, that I can look at your situation, put it through the lens of my formula, and then see a creative way to make happen what you need to happen without actually happening all that you need to happen. And I know that may not make sense, but let me break it down. Let me break it down, right? So my three-part formula is opportunity, skill set and know-how, and the capital to execute. So we're going to take a deep dive into each one of those. Okay, opportunity. What is an opportunity? What qualifies as an opportunity? Who has problems? Well, I like to go for the people that are, oh my God, I need you right now, this second. If I didn't have you, oh my God, I wouldn't make it. Because those are going to be the people that you can more easily and readily make a deal with. Because a lot of times when somebody doesn't need you, like I don't need somebody to come and pay and charge me thousands of dollars to learn my ABCs. I don't like that. I know my ABCs, but I might pay you thousands of dollars to teach my daughter the ABCs because she has a bigger need for it. I don't have the need to learn my ABCs, but my daughter has a huge need to learn her ABCs. Why? Because she's young, she's just learning, and it's a lot more valuable. But trying to come and teach me my ABCs, I mean, I got several books on Amazon. I don't know if that's going to be as valuable. So that's why you really want to hone in and make sure you're finding somebody who has the need for what your solution is. Play Jeopardy. Reverse engineer your way. How am I the answer? Or Jessica Myers, or my solution, Pocket Sound Bath, or the Deal Maker, or Ignition Zones is the answer to a question that someone's asking. Okay, this is a little different here. We just want to take a little pause. I want to make sure that you check out this new app, Pocket Sound Bath. It's amazing. Take a pause. Do nothing. Stop that. Okay, now get back to the episode. It's a lot of great information. I just want to make sure you take a pause. And I used to think this was crazy at first until I started coming across visionary leaders. I was like, I was looking for somebody like you. I literally was envisioning last week. I was like, you know what? I was telling my husband, I was like, we need people, micro influencers to help grow our brand. And literally, I started just making phone calls to some friends. I was like, we gonna get this. The first friend I called, he was like, oh my gosh. He was like, this is the missing piece of what we needed. We just needed sound. We just needed to plug this in. He was like, you do not understand. And he went on and on and on. And like, he's been calling me and we've been talking back and forth. And he was like, this was the only piece that we were missing was the sound. Who knew that I would be the answer to what he was looking for? There are other partnerships and relationships where it's like, I didn't even know, but I was able to position myself where they had an issue. And Jessica Myers, or the solution that I had at the time, was an answer to their problem. So then I started looking like, oh, let me find more people with problems. So, especially as a wholesaler, I broke that down to people dealing with death, disaster, divorce, disagreement, and disability. In those 5 things, And now, yes, I related it to real estate. And like I said, in this whole space, you're gonna find that I do a lot of things to real estate. But as a scientist, if it's good anywhere, it should be good everywhere. So that means that this same principle should apply anywhere. If someone's dealing with, they just lost someone in their business. If someone's dealing with, they're ready to age out and retire and they don't have a succession plan. If someone is dealing with, they had a new birth and you had to change, or you had a divorce and you had to say goodbye. There are partners that have disagreements and they no longer can activate or actualize the asset. And that's where it creates opportunity because they have a problem. And they're like, "Oh, who do I have that can solve that problem?" That's opportunity. Opportunity is that they have a problem that you know that they're probably willing to pay for. And that's where you can go and you can get value exchange. But you have to be ready. And that's what a lot of the guests that we're going to be featuring on our episodes, they talk about the readiness. They talk about getting ready and preparing for the moment before the moment's even there. Like you don't wait until you have an audition to then start preparing for the audition. You start preparing for the audition and then an audition comes. And I feel like that is the main thing. I feel people like when it comes, then I'll suit up and I'll get ready. Well, suit up and get ready and it comes. Like I was thinking, I was like, you know what? As much as I want this $100 million contract, right? Like I started after postpartum and I had my baby and the dust settled, and I was like, well, what do I really want to do? Because I'm in the sovereign space where I get to do that. And I woke up and I said, what do I want to do? And I said, I want $100 million exit, not knowing how. And my current circumstances surely didn't show $100 million because here I am on my feet up, trying to get back after having my baby. And really, it all boiled down to making the declaration and setting the date. And the second I start preparing for the moment, then I get into a program with Invest Atlanta. Then they start putting me in front of Venture Atlanta and all of these other places where all of these people are talking about big exits. Like literally within the first week of joining Invest Atlanta, they had us in a room where someone was talking about a $275 million capital raise. Now that made my $100 million look like it wasn't much. But I realized that I had to change my environment and start preparing for the moment. So I now am preparing for this $100 million exit, not knowing how it's going to go. But I'm like, if I ignited leaders and they've been able to make millions of dollars here, millions of dollars there, what's $100 million? But really, really, if I could be honest, I got the idea from Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone said 10x your vision. So when I came up with a vision of $10 million after having my baby, I was like, well, let's 10x this. Let's make it 100 million. And so there, not knowing how, that's where I committed to having $100 million exit. And next thing you know, I'm in a program with Invest Atlanta. That's a 9-month program that's getting us just there. And then now I'm in front talking to you. So that is the power of creating and focusing on opportunity. It will seek you out when you start preparing for the moment. Now, this is where the skill set and know how really comes into play. Because now that I know that I want a $100 million exit, I need to get the people in place who know how to do it. Because Jessica, if I knew how to do it, I would already did it. So I don't know. That's what I get to create. And every time I go to a networking room, every single time, I've now come across 3 other people that are looking to have a $100 million exit. 3 other people. I had never before. I hadn't even heard about an exit. Didn't even know what an exit was. But the second I start preparing for the moment, I started to come in alignment with other people that were around that were doing the same thing. And it's so funny because I could have easily said, "Oh no," because I often hear this. This is what people say when they say, "Oh, there's nobody else in my community that wants to get started. Oh, everybody in my family, oh, they're against it." I get it because I get that too. Everybody in my family, like they were talking about making some other book number one. They weren't tired. They was like, "Hey guys, we got to make this book number one." I was like, "What? Hey, I got 3 books. Can anybody make my book number one?" They was about making somebody up. They was like, "Hey y'all, we really got to turn it. We got to make this number one." And I'm just like, they ain't did that for me. They ain't huddled up and be like, "Let's make Jessica number one." So you got to stop waiting for family. Those people that are waiting for family, that's why you get specialists that are in your life because they're going to be the ones to take the vision and go. That's why a lot of these deals that I've been able to do and truncate the time. Like if you could think about how much time it would take to plan a concert for Jay-Z. How much time do you think it'll take? Like Jay-Z came to you tomorrow and was like, "Hey, create me a concert." How long will it take? You probably say it take months, maybe even years. Do you have that kind of time? Nobody has the kind of time. You gotta act now. But what am I gonna do? Because when I worked in radio, and we actually had that where Jay-Z was on a promotional tour with Trey Songz, and we had to have a performance together. Guess we didn't have a year. Jay-Z was there for that moment. We had to make it happen that night. You better believe we called in every specialist that we knew under the sun that already dealt with these types of things, that knew how to do it, and they knew how to take a person like that of a stature and make it happen and pull it off. And when I worked at CBS and radio, we would do things like that all the time because guests would come in and you don't know how long it would take. So for me, seeing a major concert that somebody may think it takes days, months, even years, but seeing it happen within hours because you call it the right team, that is the power of skill set and know-how. If I wanted to go to the Bahamas right now on a plane, I can just go and purchase a ticket from somebody who's been flying and doing all of that forever. I don't have to be the one to do it. So when I was working in real estate, when I was working in media, and now even working in tech, I am not always the one doing it, but I'm the one bringing together the specialists and the people to do it. That is my superpower. That is how I get things done. That is how it goes from not done, dreaming about it, thinking about it, to done. Because I call in the specialists that know how to do it. I don't have to be the one who always does it. Like when I built houses and doing development, I painted not one house, but yet I was a developer. When I was in media, I wasn't the one who hit record. Even now, today, I came to the specialists who know how to do it. Now, can I go to my iPhone and hit record? And I can go and edit and I can go and do all of those things. But why? When I can just come and allow the specialists to do what they do. And it saves me time because that's what people don't understand, right? People are not doing entrepreneurship to be a worker. You're doing entrepreneurship so that you can enjoy your life. So, like when I was holding my daughter this morning, I was like, I am living in an answered prayer. Here I am through all of this journey and everything we've been through. And it's about making these moments count and literally being where we want to be and owning our time. Because that's all, a lot of times we get distracted by things that take our time that we don't even want. And time is the true currency. We think it's money, we think it's something finite, but really it's time. Because currency, like currency changes all the time. Well, no pun intended, but currency changes. Even my grandma, she was telling me how she used to go to McDonald's and with a quarter, she would go in and get a sandwich, she would get a drink, and she would get a burger and get a nickel back for a quarter. We're never going back to that. We went, you go to McDonald's now, you're spending over $20 for number one for the same thing. Money changes. Time doesn't. Time is something that's very limited to everybody, no matter what the money or the currency or value exchange is. So you want to have the people that are skilled in doing the thing that can come and bring you back time. Because yes, it's cheaper that if you did it, but 100% of nothing because it takes you so much time to get it done. It's not worth it. The value you can get from bringing in the specialist who's been doing it their whole life. Like the value for me getting to the Bahamas changes if I have to be the one to go fly the plane, learn how to do it, and then come back. But that's what's happening with deals. That's what's happening with opportunities. We're trying to be the mayor, the chief, and the bailiff. And it's like, wait, let the specialist be the specialist. Let them do their job. And then you can come in and then make the deal. Hey, what's up? We're doing something a little different this episode. We got a new segment called The DealMkr, where I break down the deals and give the behind the scenes. Still ignition zones, still the same fun, but we're going to do it a little different. So be sure to tune in. Last thing, right? So you got skill set know-how. You got the opportunity. Now what is the money? And this is the huge thing, the money. Everybody around you has money. And I know. Nobody got money but me. Nobody in my family. They ain't got money for you. Because you ain't prepared and you ain't together. Remember I said you prepare for the moment? Preparing for the moment means I'm ready. So that means that if I say, hey, I need $1 million, for example, to do my deal. Somebody puts $10,000 in my hand. What am I doing the first 10,000? Most people be like, I don't know. Well, that's people with money and with the $1,000,000 can smell if you can't do anything with 10,000. They ain't giving you 1,000,000. They can smell it. And I've learned, I like it's just like you iPhoners out there. So I've been an Android my whole life. And I learned something crazy going to a networking event that iPhoners have a crazy, sneaky little way of telling other iPhoners that you ain't got no iPhone. And it's just a little simple, little, oh, we just changed the color. But they're just letting you know that you're not in the club. That's the same way it is with people with money. It's like this iPhone club. And if you really get iPhoners amongst iPhoners, like they'll geek out about like some of the features, like the ones who really are the ones in line. The second it drops, I have to be a part of the newest iPhone and the second it drops and all that. Like if that's you, y'all having side conversations about iPhone and probably He-Man hating on the Androiders. Well, that is what happens with capital. Whether you know it or not, everybody walking by you has money. Trust you me, they go find it. If somebody heard something, like have you ever heard something like deep enough and like, no matter what, I'm gonna find the money to get it. Most people have that way for school. Most people have that way for their car. Most people have that way for their house. Where I don't know where. I don't know who's and imagine a house. Imagine how crazy you probably sound. Like this thing costs $700,000. But I'm going to go find somebody and give them a couple $1,000s so that they will pay for this thing that costs $100,000 or $700,000. That's also what you're doing a house. You'll get a mortgage. What do you think you do with a car? Like there's this $50,000, $100,000 car. $100,000 car. You're going to pay for $100,000? No. You go get a loan. You go get some. They have business loans. And even beyond business loans, they have people that are willing to invest in your business. If you get started, the problem is you haven't started. You're waiting on the funds to get started, but they're waiting on you to get started because they're like, you're going to fumble my million if you don't even know and trip over 10,000. That's one of the things I love about being in the tech space now. Tech, they call it iterations. Like in real estate, you mess up, they call it your scam. But in tech, they just call it iterations. And it literally is the same thing. Come in, fumble, figure it out. That's why as a scientist, I'm just curious. How do we make this work? How do we take someone with this problem, this solution, and create value from making the exchange? That way they have a solution to their problem. And now most times they have another problem to deal with. But that's the beauty in entrepreneurship. We love solving problems. So bringing this tri-merge together of opportunity, the skill set and know-how of what to do with said opportunity. Then comes the capital to execute. But the capital to execute comes with vision, structure, and planning. So if I want $1,000,000, I have to be able to account for and say what I plan to do with $1,000,000. So when I said I want a $100,000,000 exit, yeah, it was pie in the sky. But I have a vision of a soundstage that I want to build out. And that soundstage might cost a couple $100,000,000 because I want it teched out, I want it decked out, and I want all of these things that I'm working on, planning on. But you know what I realized in doing that? I don't know how to build a soundstage. So you know what I've been working on preparing for? Let me build the team that is going to help me get there. And when I tell you the networking I've been doing, the people that I've been meeting to work with, I mean, we here in Atlanta. I love Atlanta. People like, why Atlanta? Do you want to live in Atlanta? Yes, Atlanta. Because the second I can come up with an idea so audacious and crazy as a soundstage, guess how many movies we have that are being produced here in Atlanta? Guess how many sound stages are already here? So if we take it back to opportunity, I can just find at the time that I'm ready to execute on this and make it happen, who is the sound stage that's going under? That's how I would do it. I'm like, cool. What is the sound stage that's already set up, organized, has the specs that I need, that I want, that I desire, that I envision? And how can we go and take the sound stage over? How much money would it take to do that? I need to acquire it and I need to fix it up to my standard. That's going to take $100,000,000. So now I go on this quest to go find $100,000,000. And I found out that through technology, that's a pretty interesting way to get there. So, how do I build all the people and all the things in place to make this deal happen? I have to find a problem big enough. And a lot of times, my friends, in bringing this three-part formula together, it's going to take something as simple as taking a pause. And that's what I've been able to do through this new app that I found. It's called Pocket Sound Bath. It literally, let me show you guys. So when you talk about visionary leaders, how do you make a decision? When you're at the front of the line, left or right, north or south, I take a moment to think through this app, Pocket Sound Bath. It helps me center, it helps me recalibrate, and then I evaluate and find what is it in this deal that is the problem and where is it that we are the solution. And I slow down enough to find that. And that's how I'm able to do it because a lot of this work in the deal space is unseen. I think that's why it's so hard to it's like explaining qua, the 27th letter of the alphabet. How do you explain qua? Like you got A, we got B, we got C, we got D, we got E, we got F, all those things that we see. But we got qua, and I've never seen it before. And now I'm having to explain to you and tell you what is qua. And you're looking at me like I'm crazy because you're like, all we see is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. This girl is crazy. We do not see qua. That is why you have to take a pause because you are generating from the inside to create the outside. You're generating from the inside to then create on the outside. So you see, putting together the deal is not that hard. Once you get the opportunity, you get the people in place and the skill set and know-how, and you get the capital. The biggest thing is the star power to put it all together. That's why we created Ignition Zones. It's really a space, and I'm so excited that we get to start having events in person where we really calibrate these visionary leaders that need to take the time to go through that discovery. Understand the North Star and the strategy of how I put together deals as a visionary architect. And that's what we're doing. And we're uncovering and demystifying what people think it is to succeed, what it is to have sovereignty, and go after the actual thing that matters. So, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Ignition Zones. Be sure to check us out on all major platforms. Subscribe, it's free. Hit us at the button below. As always, you know you got it. Let's get it. Let's go.